This is the MLW Radio Network. This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace, world, and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Adam Barnard, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
On my mind is the fact that I can never get the right amount of fucking sleep. Dude, I had a late night last night, it's like, I'm laying in bed, my legs feel like they're running in place, and it's like, I'll dose myself. Took some CBD, had like some of the most bizarre sleep, and woke up, and here I am.
Why was it bizarre? Was it just dream world or just in general?
Oh, just dream world. I just like it felt real. Like when I have CBD sleep, like the dreams feel like they're really happening. So it's just like, and I wish I could document them or remember them like 5 minutes after I wake up, but it's bizarre. You know how real those dreams feel, and you wake up and you look at the clock and you're like, oh, it was a dream.
I share your frustrations with sleep. I haven't had sleep correctly in about a week and a half. We had that whole, baby thing.
Yeah.
So the baby's been up,
that
feeding
thing.
And crying. And that little damn thing. Now I've been crying, every couple of hours. So my sleep schedule is very weird. But Courtney tells me that I don't really move too much. I just jostle and then roll over. But I can feel that my body has been awoken.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like you're unsettled when you wake up. You're like, fuck, I think I woke up again. Have you had
as I yawned into the mic?
I was going to say, hey, man, hey, that's what we're here for, pal. It's live. We're live to tape, goddammit.
This is the high entertainment you get from Mind of the Meanie.
This is what you get when you can see him yawn live right now. If you go to patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie, sign up today, become a part of the Pod Squad, and you too can watch Blue Meanie yawn into the microphone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Please go ahead.
No, hey, man, this is Mind of the Meanie, not Mind of the Adam, okay? We are here today to record another fantastic episode. Shout out to the Pod Squad. Yes. Thank you all for joining us today. We are recording a little Inside Baseball. We're recording midweek. It's a little bit earlier than we like to record, but Meanie's got some things going on this week, and we are happy to oblige.
Yeah, I'll be tomorrow, Thursday, I'll be driving out to Indianapolis, Indiana, for the Squared Circle Wrestling Expo, which will be fun. Going out there with my good friends in Collar and Elbow. Use promo code Meanie, save 10%. They were like, hey, well, here's the thing. I was like, man, I was watching everybody at WrestleCon during WrestleMania weekend, and I wasn't booked, Terry. But I was like, man, I told him, I was like, look, if you ever need a guest down the line, please hit me up. They're like, what are you doing, April 16th? I was like, all right, nothing. So I was like, you want to do the convention? I was like, yeah, sure. And then I realized it was Easter weekend, and we were supposed to go to Mrs. Meanie's family on Easter weekend. So once I realized that, we told her parents, and we went to Mrs. Meanie's mom's the week before Easter and had dinner and stuff like that. So had a road trip last weekend to Connecticut. This week we're driving to Indiana, and then I got a wedding the following week. So a couple interesting weekends. But what I'm really looking forward to, besides going to Indianapolis, Indiana, and for the Square Circle Expo, is I am going to purposely make a pit stop in Lima, Ohio, and have a Kewpie burger.
Attaboy. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, which is, kind of my prerequisite for any long trip out that's going to be anywhere remotely in Ohio. It's going to be like an hour and a half out of the way there, but it's going to be so worth it. And, I'm nostalgic. I want to stare at the building I trained in, even though it's not open anymore, and just stand at the door and go, You know, just stroke my beard and
there you go.
Remember all
Get
the
wistful
mischief. What's that?
Get wistful and remember all the good times.
Yeah, cue up Madonna's "This Used to Be My Playground." And,
That's a deep cut. It's a deep burn, Meanie.
This used to be my playground.
Yeah. That used to be my childhood dream.
Yes.
It was a League of Their Own, right? Was that the name? That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yo, Madonna was fine as hell in that movie.
That's my favorite scene in the movie.
That is a great flick, man. That is a fantastic movie.
It is. What's his name? John Lovitz was the best. I forget what he was like an agent, or he was the office for the baseball team or whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna go home, get my wife the pickle tickle, and yeah, but
it just sounds so much grosser coming from him. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say it's coming from me. I was like, well,
no, it sounds natural coming from guys like us, but from John Lovitz, it's like, man. Yeah. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But we should talk about this. Gilbert Gottfried passed away yesterday.
God.
The age of 67. Came out of nowhere.
The
any fun memories of Gilbert Gottfried?
Oh, dude. If you grew up in the 80s, the 80s was like the boom period for stand-up comedy. You know, there's a show on every day. You can turn on one channel and see An Evening at the Improv, MTV's Half Hour Comedy Hour, VH1's Comedy Spotlight, hosted by Rosie O'Donnell. A&E was just a new channel. They had their stand-up comedy, and there's like a standard of comedians that were always on, and Gilbert was one of those comedians. I believe I first saw Gilbert in Beverly Hills Cop. He might have been in Beverly Hills Cop. I want to say he was in one of those movies. And then he was in the Phil Collins video for Two Hearts, which starred the Ultimate Warrior and Pretty Boy Larry Sharp, which they filmed like right down the street from the Monster Factory. But Gilbert was in the opening skit, back in the 80s when they did skits and videos. But dude, talk about a guy who just was like, he stood out. That's the important thing. Like, it's one thing to go up there in a suit and just tell straight up just jokes and stuff like that. But he had his own voice, literally and figuratively. He was a caricature. You can draw him. You can look at his silhouette and know it was him. He was a human caricature, and it wasn't until and it wasn't until he started doing the roasts and stuff like that that I mean, he was known, but he became prominently known for his roasts and the documentary The Aristocrats and stuff like that, and it's probably the most filthiest joke in the history of the planet Earth. But
let's stay on that for a second, because The Aristocrats is just an incredible movie, and anyone who's not familiar with it, go out of your way to pick it up. But I'll lay this up for you, and then I want to get your opinion on it. So basically, The Aristocrats is just this joke that the comedians tell each other to try to gross each other out. It's basically like inside baseball for the boys and girls of comedy, right?
Yeah.
And it's this incredibly filthy joke, and you just add as many filthy, disgusting, awful layers to it, and then at the very end, it's, well, what do you call your act? And it's The Aristocrats, and it's this obnoxious joke. But everybody always said that Carlin's version was the best.
Yeah.
But I feel like, for me, and it's not just because both of them are gone now. I mean, all three of them are gone now, but I felt like between Bob Saget and Gilbert Gottfried, the two of them were just as insane as anyone you could possibly imagine. So who would you say was your favorite rendition of The Aristocrats in that film?
Oh, I'm always partial to Carlin, but I'll say Saget was great because, again, he's America's dad, telling the world's filthiest joke. But then you got Gilbert, who's just this cartoon character, and he's just over the top. Just, and then the daughter, just... Let me tell you something. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
And the beauty of the joke is you can just make up anything. And the joke isn't a standard joke. As long as you hit that fucking punchline, you're good.
Yeah.
You got to hit that punchline right at the proper go home moment. You know, you can't let it go a little too long. You got to fucking, well, what do you call this act? You know, but yeah, you know, Gilbert, man, he died yesterday. When he died yesterday, there's like this joke he did about tea, which is always in my head. You know, it's one thing when somebody tells a joke, and little things make you think of that joke the rest of your life. Like I've been sick with, you know, not sick, like my allergies are out of fucking control, so I've been drinking a lot of tea. And he talks about tea, and then like he has this line. He goes, "Pardon me, but your tea bag is urinating in my warm water," or whatever. Of course, I'm butchering it. I'm not saying it as funny as Gilbert, but every time I drink tea, I say, "Pardon me, your tea bag is urinating in my cup of warm water," or yeah, as loud as bombastic as he could say it, and without me saying it and scaring my neighbors right now. Yeah, just he's a part of pop culture. You know, he's just you know, he's a legendary comic that other comics loved. You know, you do the voice and people know who he is, who you're talking about, and everybody's got their favorite thing. And he said unexpected. Holy shit, it was unexpected. And you know, you're like, man, hopefully it's you don't hope for a practical joke like that, but you're like, man, 67, still young.
Yeah,
he's still young. That's, you know, that's what he had 20 years on me. You know, you start doing the math. You're like, oh, how much longer do I have? You know,
right. And I really do. I feel like we talk about this every week now. And it's just the Meanie's death hour. And it's just like, it just sucks because it's a part of, you know, I know I saw you posted today about, or yesterday about Balls Mahoney. It was his anniversary since his passing. And it's just like, man, it just never seems to stop. And it's very frustrating.
Yeah. And, well, I guess a good anniversary is today. Slichter reminded us here in the Patreon room that today is barely legal day, which,
man,
we finally remembered an anniversary. Thank you, Slichter.
Breaking news. We actually remembered something on the show.
Yeah. No, but not to take away from Gilbert, but yeah, it's just too many anniversaries, man. It's just... It's a reminder that, you know, life is fragile. It can end at any time, but it just makes you think, you know, man, just, you know, you start missing your friends, you know, just stuff like that. And then Balls Mahoney, I mean, every death hurts, but dude, he died the day after his birthday. It was
Jesus.
It was his birthday, and then the next day, you know. One moment he's sitting on the couch playing Jeopardy, watching Jeopardy with his family, and then he's gone within like minutes. Just
wow.
He had been in a car accident or something like that, and really banged him up, and just sitting on the couch playing Jeopardy, answering along with all the questions, and then in a couple minutes, you know, it sucks. But you know, God bless Gilbert. God bless, you know, John, aka Balls Mahoney. I still see his wife, still see his son, you know. That's the thing, I still see some of the, you know, the family members around town. I see Cronus' son every now and then, you know, around South Philly. But, yeah, man, just in the words of Warren Zevon, who did a documentary while he was passing away of cancer. He's like, you know, I'm dying of cancer. Let me do one last album. And he hung on for a little while. I don't know. It was like a cancer that's supposed to do you in, but he hung out and hung around. And he even went on. He went on David Letterman. He's like, I swear, people, this isn't a joke. You know, I'm really dying. I'm still here. But he had a saying during that course of dying, you know, from cancer that enjoy every sandwich. Just enjoy every sandwich every day. You know, just. You know, enjoy every day, you know, because it might be, you never know when your last one's going to be. So, rest in peace, Gilbert Godfrey.
And I know we referenced this, and we'll transition into Barely Legal now, but The Aristocrats, it's a 2005 documentary.
Yes.
It was produced by Penn Jillette and Paul Provenza. I mean, there's literally a who's who of comedians in this movie. Everybody from George Carlin, Bob Saget, Gilbert Godfrey, Jon Stewart, Chris Rock. Sarah Silverman's in it. They even get the guys from South Park to send an animated version of the kids from South Park doing the Aristocrats. It's quite a movie. So go out of your way to take a look at it. But 25,
real quick, you just remind me of the name Paul Provenza. He was a comedian from the 80s. If right before we get to Barely Legal here, just if you get a chance, look up Paul Provenza's Green Room, which was like kind of like a talk show where a bunch of comedians just sit around and bullshit, and it's some of the most fascinating conversation. I'm a big fan of good conversation, but just a bunch of stand-up comedians, some well-known, some up-and-comers. This was like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. It was like on Showtime, but I think it's on YouTube. The Green Room. It's hysterical.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Barely Legal, the ECW pay-per-view, April 13th, 1997, 25 years ago today at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The very first pay-per-view from ECW. I actually watched a clip of Paul Heyman giving you guys a pep talk in the back this morning.
Yeah.
I saw our dear friend Blue Meanie in the video there, clapping and getting excited. What a card, man.
Yeah.
What a card this was. What a show this was. Lots of incredible names. Rob Van Dam, Lance Storm, the Eliminators, the Dudley Boys, Full-Blooded Italian, Shane Douglas, Taz, and of course, the bluest of meanies was at the show. It's crazy, man. It's crazy to think that this has been 25 years ago. I know we touched on it a little bit last week, but how are you feeling today, knowing that this was 25 years ago? How do you feel about that? And I also want to talk about Joey Styles in a second too, because I think it's important to note his part in this. But how do you feel about this? How's it feel to know it was 25 years ago?
It's insane because that means I'm 25 years older, but I don't feel much older. I still got the aches and pains, which I'm like, is that pro wrestling aches and pains, or is that just getting older aches and pains? I don't know. But 25 years ago, my God, it's an event that was supposed to happen sooner, and then the mass transit thing happened. Yeah, it got delayed, but our fans rose up and annoyed the cable companies enough to give us a platform to have a pay-per-view. And, it was crazy because, last night was the anniversary of the Terry Funk banquet. And even though we were having the banquet the night before, to honor Terry Funk, he's still in wrestling. You're like, you're always taught, don't believe anything until it's happened and you've been paid for it, because everything in wrestling is written in pencil. That's why it's the booker's pencil, because the other end has an eraser on it. And it could easily rub that out. So, in pro wrestling, don't believe anything until you've actually done it and paid for it, and then still question it. It was awesome. Our first dive into live television as a company. Some of us had done Monday Night Raw, to help promote it and stuff like that, which was an honor in itself as well. To be considered one of the few acts to go up to the Manhattan Center and do Monday Night Raw, to represent ECW. But it was like, if you watch Beyond the Mat, and there's a few other documentaries out there too that have some footage. There's one big celebration. Every ECW arena show, people would be out there tailgating at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., just to hopefully get a seat in the bleachers. They got their coolers and all that shit. And you pull up to the arena and, I live in the neighborhood. I'd be passing by to go get groceries and during the day, and there'd be a line around. Oh, shit, they're already out here already. So if you watch the documentary, fans were out there cheering and just tailgating, the day of. the pay-per-view, and they're you pull up the building. You're used to normal fare. You're used to seeing fans, but oh my God, there's satellite trucks. We have cops out front, guarding the entrance. It's like, what? And then you walk in, and there's like that. The locker room was a little bit more lit, better lit, because the Beyond the Mat crew was there filming. Normally, it would just be a not pitch dark, but like a dark locker room with very little lighting, but it was well lit for the movie. And then you wander through the curtain, through our version of gorilla position, through the curtain, and then you walk out to the arena, and you're just, wow. The building's well lit because WWE helped us get a lighting rig, and then they painted the floor. Like, the floor is clean. Oh my God, they painted the floor, and all these other things. And then you just, go and try to have a normal day, as unnormal as it feels, because you're in a place you've always been, but it's just something's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I like to use the Wayne's World reference a lot. I use the Wayne's World reference in reference to WWE ECW, because it was ECW, but it really wasn't ECW. But Barely Legal, it's like they go to, in Wayne's World, they go to the new taping of Wayne's World now that they've been sold to Noah's Arcade, and everything's a little bit, a lot nicer. So you go up to the arena, everything's a lot nicer, and you're like, man, this is really happening, huh? Because you've been around. If you've been around for a little bit, you start doubting a little bit of things. But it was awesome. It was awesome. Like in WWE, you work all year just to hopefully get a spot in WrestleMania, and to be a part of the first ever ECW pay-per-view. The fact that I found a spot, got a spot on it. I didn't wrestle, but hey, I was on the card. I was part of Stevie's. I was in Stevie's corner. Huge honor, because you only get one shot at what's the saying? You only get one shot at first impression. You get one shot at doing something for the first time, and just be a part of ECW's first pay-per-view on that scale, in a company that people still talk about to this day, with such reverence. Nobody's chanting, AWA at shows. Nobody's chanting WCW at
or
shows.
WCW, right?
Yeah, and I grew up loving those promotions, but there's something about ECW that stuck with people. It was kind of like when you saw the Ramones or the Sex Pistols. They had an impact. They weren't around too long, but they had an impact that people still talk about them today. People still wear their T-shirts. ECW was a punk rock movement in professional wrestling.
I'm just going through some stats here on this event.
Yes.
It looks like you guys had a buy rate of 0.26, which is the equivalent buys of 104,000 buys, which is probably crazy to think about with an ECW event. I mean, I just can't even imagine like the just Paul's eyes when he saw that number. Like, holy shit, we pulled it off.
In that time frame too.
Yeah.
With very little TV exposure, except for being mentioned on WWE TV, which helped. But we were just a syndicated company, just doing syndicated TV, and to pull that number is remarkable.
I'm reading some of the history about this as we're talking here, and it looks like Wade Keller was actually the one that was responsible for the Request TV deal falling apart because of the mass transit comment. Any thoughts on that? I mean, has that ever come up? I know Wade, like, hey man, like, why did you do that? It seems that I would imagine was it an accidental thing? Like, do you have any idea what happened there?
No, I'm pretty sure it was intentional.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, look, I like Wade. If you're going to be a newspaper reporter, not a wrestling newsletter reporter, be a Dave. Don't be a Meltzer. Because
you mean be a Wade, don't be a Meltzer.
Yeah. Sorry. It's early. Yeah, be a Wade. Don't be a Meltzer.
Yeah, shout out to Wade. Shout out to Wade Keller. I enjoy his work.
Dude, I got his newsletter. You know, it would come every week and come with a color 5x7, which I'm sure I still have of photos he took of being a ringside photographer. So yeah. I don't know if he meant to be, make the news happen, but he made the news happen by reaching out and asking them what they thought of this thing that they weren't aware of. So you go from reporting the news to becoming the news, which I'm pretty sure in the world of news really isn't like a good thing.
Yep,
You're supposed to be bringing the news to the people, So, and not creating the news to bring to the people to hopefully push your, sales for your newsletter. So
now, can I ask a question real fast? Was the mass transit incident, had it already been like widely reported outside of what you would consider the dirt sheets, or was that the first time it had gotten like massive exposure because of Wade?
I don't remember. I remember it happening, and then from what I know, it was over with. It
was like a quick in and out, and like the storm came in, storm was out, and then it was done.
Yeah, and then we had been having Paul would do like a random post show meeting. I remember we were in Revere at the dog track where the mass transit thing happened. This is months later. And he pulls all this out. Hey, we got this thing for a pay-per-view. This is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And then there was another post-show, or pre-show meeting at a show in Blackwood, New Jersey. And he pulled us all together. Okay, so this is how the pay works and blah, blah, blah. Preparing us for pay-per-view stuff. And then, the pay-per-view got cut, and then it's back on. Yeah, but as far as like, the incident, I hadn't heard anything until, New Jack started having to go to court for it and stuff like that. Then it came back up, but
right. But at the time, it wasn't something that had been widely circulated or publicized outside of maybe inside of like the small syndicated dirt sheet world.
Not that I'm aware of. No, because I'm living my life every day and going to the shows and stuff like that, and I'm kind of nosy, so I kind of want to know what's going on, some dirt. But I had not heard of it outside the dirt sheet world. No.
One other thing I wanted to mention here about this event was Joey Styles. At the time, it was unheard of for color commentators to, announce shows by themselves. And Joey Styles did that for this and multiple other shows after this point, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
How important was that for Joey Styles to be the one to sort of plant his flag and be like, yeah, I was the only one who did this. I was the one who completed a show alone. And I mean, what was that like for him going through that process and knowing he was going to have to do it by himself? And what did it mean for him?
It meant a lot because Paul went to bat for him. The company wanted him to have a sidekick, a play-by-play guy to, work alongside him. And Paul was like, no, this is our product. This is how we sound. This is what we do. No, he's going to be working by himself. And Paul went to battle for him. And the cable company didn't want, Ron and Charlie, working the pay-per-view. They wanted their people. It's like, no, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is our company. So the fact that Joey, I don't know how long the pay-per-view was, like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that.
Something like that.
And just to be up there, calling the action, throwing to video packages, eventually, he got company with Dreamer and Beulah coming up.
Right.
For the main event, but it meant a lot to him. So much to the fact that the pay-per-view is over. Joe. I just remember standing there in the locker room, and there was this Joey just like kind of like throwing his arms up, like, And then he takes his glasses off. He starts rubbing his eyes and just starts openly weeping that, he did it. And they weren't, tears of it. They were tears of joy, put it that way.
Right.
And, a lot of us,
Right.
we all went up to him and, put our arms on him, hey, man, you did it. That's awesome.
I think one of the other things that I talk about a lot, people always have these conversations about voices of our childhood,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now I'm a Philly guy,
Mm-hmm. Me too.
You know what I'm going. Oh yeah, you too. I didn't know that. I forgot. We're from the same area.
Yeah.
Now, I think you know what I'm going to say here is that for me, while Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan, these guys are all definitely top tier voices of childhood. Every time I think about Summers and watching wrestling, the first person I think about is Joey fucking Styles, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it's iconic. Just his delivery, his cadence, his flow, the way that he excited people about listening to the product, the way he drew you in, it was unbelievable. I'm not sure for me if there's another announcer who's out there or another color commentator or even commentator who matches that level. Maybe Pat McAfee, I think, is somebody who I would say is very much like Joey Styles-esque. But it's very difficult, and I found it next to – I haven't seen anybody who's done it as well as Joey Styles. Do you think that Joey Styles, gets the credit he deserves as far as a commentator, as far as in the grand scheme of things? Because I really don't hear his name brought up much when people talk about the greatest of all time, and he absolutely belongs in that list. What is Blue Meanie's thoughts on that?
Oh, he's definitely one of the best announcers of all time. And the people who don't want to give him credit are probably the same people who don't want to give ECW credit for being what it was. There's people who want to look at ECW and go, well, it was a regional promotion. It really made very little impact. Whatever.
And that's why Vince McMahon bought the rights to the company. Right, exactly. And that's why he funded the company. Right, yeah, sure. Okay, we can play that game if we want to.
That's why, no problem. That's why Vince put it, funded it, put it on his TV. It was the second highest selling DVD of all time with Rise and Fall of ECW, which spurned One Night Stand. Was spurned or it's
which created it, brought the demand for One Night Stand, which then created WWE ECW, and No, but it didn't mean anything. It was bullshit. It was just fucking, here we are 25 years later talking about a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
With arguably one of the most iconic characters from the ECW time, Blue Meanie. But it's fine. It didn't mean anything to anyone. Yeah.
Right. So, yes, absolutely.
Stupid, man. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yes, absolutely. Joey Styles needs to be in the conversation for one of the best commentators of all time. Wrestling again. There's Jim Ross, there's Lance Russell, Gordon Soley, Joey Styles.
Yeah.
If you want to do a Mount Rushmore.
Let's do a Mount Rushmore. God damn it.
It's the shits.
I can't remember what regular air smells like.
No more Mount Rushmores. Here's one other thing I forgot about until I was looking the show up. The BWO Japan premiered at this show. Taka Michinoku, Terry Boy, and Dick To Go. The Blue World Order Japan.
It's Dick Togo, but
sure, yeah, okay. I knew I was going to get a pop out of you on that one.
Yeah. Hey, waiter, I'll get a little bit of Dick To Go.
Hey, how you doing? I want to get a side of sausage and a little bit of Dick To Go, eh? But tell me any fun stories about the BWO Japan and Dick To Go?
They were great, and they were so cool about it. And they when they went back to Japan, they were still BWO Japan, and they wound up making up their own version of the shirt and stuff like that. But
that's cool, man.
Yeah. No, they were great guys. We filmed the skit where we inducted them into the BWO. That was at the Wonderland race park there up in Revere, Mass. We filmed that skit like in the backstage area because we would get dressed where like people would sit and watch the dog races and stuff like that. So we sat, it was like live. We put up the live via satellite, like as if we went to Japan to, to give them these T-shirts when we could just mail them to them. But no, they were great guys. To the fact that even when I went to WWE, we all still talked about how cool that was with ECW and the international BWO Japan. Because NWO had their relationship with New Japan and NWO Japan. It only made sense for us to have our own Japanese faction branch out. So why not?
Yep. If you want to go ahead and check out ECW Barely Legal 1997, it's on the Peacock app. You can go check it out right now on the WWE
Check out
network.
the cock.
Check it out right there. Check it out on the cock. I'm not sure how much music is in there from the original. The original one. That's always my favorite. It's one of my favorite things about, and I know we've touched about it when we talked about New Jack and we talked about some of the other guys, but like just the rebel part of using that music.
Yeah.
Knowing full well, Paul was like, I know that I can't use this. Like, I just think that's hilarious that you guys just did that and nobody fucking said a word. I thought it was great.
Dude, we weren't the first company to do that,
Right.
Early WWF would do that. They would do video packages with unlicensed music. One of my favorite promotions, Bill Watts UWF, had some of the coolest bumper music. The music they'd play going to commercial, be showing a highlight of Savannah Jack throwing a super kick to the Cars, to a Cars song or something like that. We weren't, the first to use it, but probably the last to use unlicensed music.
I'm sure.
And dude, if I can, I had this thought last night. I was like, oh, I gotta say this. Because everybody's like, oh, WWE's for sale, right? So here's my fantasy booking, right? As much as I hate fantasy,
here we go.
booking. Imagine, and I said this on the podcast with Real Dad Josh. I think if WWE gets bought by Amazon, now imagine WWE gets bought by Amazon, because Amazon's got their own streaming. They have their own. They can sell merch for stuff. But they also have Amazon Music, which they have the rights to stream music. Imagine they get ECW and put their original music back in the fucking shows.
Holy shit, dude! Could you imagine?
Yeah, because they have the license. They have the licenses to all that music to stream it anyway. So if they stream it on their TV service, I'm sure there's somebody out there pushing up their glasses going, well, actually.
Don't fact check us, goddammit.
Yeah, but you already have the license with all these artists to stream their music.
Technically, I feel like you could probably get away with that, though, because if you have the Amazon Music and you have the licenses, do you technically need to renegotiate the licenses because you're using it on a separate product, but you own the product? Like, because it's a sub-product? I don't know. Any entertainment lawyers out there, tweet at us and let us know your thoughts on this, because I would love to explore this this topic here and talk about it. But Meanie, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to ask Meanie?
I would love to. It's time to ask Meanie anything. Ask me something.
Don't forget to tweet us your questions at Mind of the Meaning using the hashtag Ask Meanie. Meanie, I have my Yeti water bottle here with me today because I was going to grab some of that ugly drink over at the CVS yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to get back out to get it, but I promise you I'm going to have seltzer next week. What do you got for us today on tap?
It's ironic that you say that because Polar seltzer water, they have their own, they have like fun flavors, and this one is called Yeti Mischief.
Nice. There it is. Look at that.
You got your Yeti cooler. I got my Yeti Mischief. So,
and you could see this live right now on patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Come and join us and become part of the pod squad today. Meanie, go ahead and Sandman that shit in honor of Barely Legal. 3, 2, 1.
This can't small enough. That's perfect. Yeah.
All right. We got a couple of questions here today to get us through. Actually, since we're talking about ECW and WWECW.
Yes, dear.
Pod Squad member Andrew Bailey wants to know, were you ever approached to become a permanent part of the WWE reincarnation of ECW? And what were your thoughts on the WWE version of ECW?
I was supposed to be a part of the second one night stand, and then I had my lung surgery. And once they heard I had surgery and lung surgery, I was told that they kind of nixed it because they didn't think. And supposedly it was supposed to be me and JBL on the second pay-per-view as well, or something like that. But that's the rumor.
They were gonna revisit that.
Yeah, rumor and innuendo.
Yeah. And you know what we think about rumor and innuendo here?
I can't remember what regular air smells like.
It's the shits.
It's the shits.
It fucking pops me every fucking time. Bret Hart is always right.
Yes.
What was the fucking question?
It was just your thoughts about WWECW.
Well, the rumor was, I was told I was going to be contacted for the second one. Then they, I was, when was Bare Legal? April? I had my lung surgery in March. February, March. No. It was March because I got sick right around St. Patrick's Day that year. Right. So, yeah, I was laid the fuck up. And I was useless. So if I had been a part of that, then there's a good chance I would have been part of the original ECW. But, they say, chain of events, stuff like that. Sliding doors, if I had made that, that train, and the door hadn't shut in my face, would I have, walked in on this or the other thing? It just takes one instance to change history. But, I believe if I hadn't gotten sick, hadn't had lung surgery, and was able to be on the second one-night stand, I believe I probably could have done something with the ECW.
Josh Thornton wants to know, hey, you may have already touched on this or a similar topic, but do you think wrestling fans should worry about what's next for Ring of Honor? I feel like that having most of the final champs losing their titles to AEW talent at the last pay-per-view could be bad news for former Ring of Honor wrestlers still looking for employment. Could this be a possible WWECW experiment?
That's a good observation, but who knows? I mean, the Ring of Honor talent's always going to find work because they're talented, It might just be one of those reevaluation things, because anytime there's a merger, and like there's about to be a merger with Warner Media and Discovery or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be
that's coming up pretty quick.
And there's going to be a bloodbath, not literal, but figurative, because once a company acquires another company, there's going to be mass layoffs, which sucks. But, AEW, Tony Khan, AEW acquired Ring of Honor. They're going to have it in their vision. And, Tony Khan's got so much talent under contract already. He's got a place for them to go now and spread it out a little bit, Oh, excuse me.
That's a little seltzer kiss for you guys, friends. Remember, patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. You can watch Blue Meanie belch. And it'll give you a little seltzer kiss right in your right in the tickle of your earbuds.
I should have did it in the mic. So I could have been on the board.
Little stern stuff.
Another thing for your buddy to make a song of,
Carl, you listening? Let's get a burp song going as well. Be like, that's disgusting. The fuck is wrong with you guys? I'm gonna have him leave me a voicemail. It's Carl. Jesus Christ, I can't take this shit anymore. Fucking obnoxious. You guys are disgusting. See physician. Actually, you know what, Carl? If you're listening while you're engineering the show, listen. Meanie and I will pay for you to send us out some In and Out so we can eat it live on the show. Since you're in Arizona now, I feel like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, FedEx shit.
I'm all about it. Last question for the day. Pod Squad member Andy Schlichter wants to know, hey, Meanie, what are your thoughts on the start of the Philadelphia Phillies season?
Oh, it's promising. As I said, we record this, they lost to fucking Mets last night.
Mets.
Fucking Mets. But, look, If they can win 2 out of every 3 series, they'll be fine. Of course, I always worry about the bullpen. The pitching has been but then again, it's, they had a shortened spring training, and they had a lockout where a lot of the guys weren't able to get their treatment before. When you have a lockout, you're used to going to team facilities to get your treatment and stuff like that. Fucks everything up. So a lot of guys, who were getting treatment had to find someplace else. So they end the lockout, they have spring training, and a lot of guys around the whole league are playing catch up, So, it's 162 games, I believe. So, actually, it's 164. No, I don't know. Don't fact check me. It's a long season, but, man, they got some fucking heavy hitters on that fucking team that'll do some fucking damage. Good stuff, man. Hopefully, by the trade deadline or whatever, they pick up another, pitcher or something like that, along the lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing that worries me about this team is the pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, Meanie, let me ask you a question. Also, actually, shout out to my brother Matt. It's his birthday today, and he's actually at the game today. Game starts at 1:05. Happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday.
Blue Meanie.
Yes.
Where can everybody find you on social media?
If you would like to follow the Blue Meanie, go to all forms of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which I kind of haven't figured out yet. Go to @BlueMeanieBWO. If you want to support the Blue Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie, which I just put up a new T-shirt by artist Bill Wood. It's the Philadelphia Blue Meanies. It's done. It says Blue Meanie, but in the logo of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is pretty cool. It's in sport gray and Irish green, which I pretend is Kelly green. So go over to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. If you want to support Mine and the Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mine and the Meanie. Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand. The fine folks who I'm appearing for this weekend have lots of great wrestling themed shirts over at collarandelbowbrand.com. Use promo code Meanie, save 10%. If you want to look and smell good, like my beard does, go to madcatbeardcare.com. If you're a big fan of cats, it's cat friendly. All the money, all the proceeds, I don't draw a dime from this. All the proceeds go to taking care of cats. So go to madcatbeardcare.com. And where can we find you, Mr. Barnard?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram @ThisIsGoober. Yes, it's my handle. Yes, I'm keeping it. It's a brand, pal. You can also check out my other show, Foundation Radio, by going to foundationradio.net. I do all my conversations and great shows over there. We also do a segment called Sam Watches Bad Wrestling Poorly, where the executive voice of Mind of the Meanie, Sam Krebs, will watch really shitty wrestling matches and comment on them in real time. So go ahead and check it out right now, foundationradio.net. If you want to support the show, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/foundationradio. Pick yourself up a t-shirt. Also want to give a shout out to real dad Josh Chernoff. Had me on Fight TV this week. I'll be on Fight TV tomorrow, which is actually Thursday here, but you can watch it after you listen to the show. I'm on a panel about the upcoming Impact pay-per-view, Impact Rebellion, which airs on April 23rd. I'll be there with Pro Wrestling Illustrated writer Candice Cordelia and Jim Varsalone from the Miami Herald, where we talk about all the matches on there. So go ahead and check it out at Fight TV. And don't forget to check out Josh Chernoff's Patreon at patreon.com/So Says Chernoff. Blue Meanie, I want to thank you for your time as always. I appreciate it. Pod Squad, we love you. Don't forget patreon.com/ So funny story. As we're getting ready to wrap up this episode, we experienced a power outage here at my house, and everything shut down right at the end of the show. No, it was not a rib. It was not a joke. It was not a planned thing. The power just completely went out. I do not know what the statistical likelihood is of the power going out, just like what happened at Barely Legal. On the anniversary of Barely Legal, and while Blue Meanie and I are doing an episode and talking about Barely Legal. So in any event, Wanted to come back up and button up the show, make sure we ended it properly. Remember, patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie to join us early and ad-free while we record for the Blue Meanie. I'm Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip through the mind of the Meanie. Peace.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie was recorded and produced by Adam Barnard and was engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional production and narration provided by Sam Krebs. Our executive producers are Josh Chernoff, Adam Barnard, and the Blue Meanie. Our opening theme is performed by the Swamp Candles. Our closing theme is performed by Chikara. The show contains original music produced by Enrichment. Get additional bonus content by becoming our patron on Patreon at patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mind of the Meanie. This has been a Butts Carlton media production in conjunction with the MLW Radio Network. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order.
Dad, why is Blue Meanie's brain out?
The world of MLW Radio never stops.